Hello and welcome back to the Dukascopy TV studio. I'm Natalie MacDonald bringing you another exclusive interview. Up today, we're discussing renewable energy, looking at government policy and the EU energy roadmap. Joining me in the studio is George Hayes of CHS. George, thank you very much for coming in today.
Thank you for having me.
No problem at all. Okay, so firstly, what is the most exciting news you've heard about the future of energy? What's going on at the moment?
What's going on right now is people are taking climate change much more seriously. Before it was unproved facts, theories, warnings, and now studies are coming out that are actually showing irrefutable facts that there really is a problem that is irreversible if we don't do anything about it, as far as the warming of the globe, the greenhouse gas emissions, and its impact on our future. NASA recently had a study out showing that the Antarctica is getting into deeper trouble. That is, its impact, its melting of the ice caps is becoming irreversible. So this is moving very slowly, but if you fast forward several decades, this is something that's going to impact thousands of people. People are going to be displaced, the sea levels are going to be rising, and if we don't do something now, people are going to be suffering. So I think that's one major shift and news that we have, and that is climate change is being accepted by more people as true hard science. Second thing that I like to highlight is the fact that the U.S. is becoming this large producer of energy, cheap energy, because of the shale gas. From 2011 to now, there's been a 40% increase in the production of oil from the U.S. But what needs to be highlighted is that this production is not for free. It's not super low cost. It's able to go on because crude oil prices are above $100 a barrel. And people think that this can be going on forever, and if we don't have prices above $100 or above $80 a barrel, this extraction cannot be sustained for a long term. So there's a warning light there that within this boom there is also concern that it is not 100% sustainable, and that we need to be looking at other avenues of fuel. And I think renewable fuel is that avenue that needs to be continuously focused on and nourished, if you would.
So how does government policy fit into all of this? I mean, we've also got the EU Energy Roadmap 2050. Can you expand a little bit on all of that for us?
As I mentioned before, climate change and the cost of fossil fuel extraction are major drivers into the increase of renewable fuels in the energy matrix going forward. Governments, however, have a large role to play into this. $1.9 trillion are being spent annually in government subsidies. Unfortunately, the majority of these subsidies is going towards traditional fossil fuels. If we take Brazil for an example, Brazil keeps their prices of gasoline artificially low in order to contain inflation, and this adversely affects the uptake of renewable fuels. Gasoline prices at the tank are held artificially lower, and the uptake of ethanol is limited because of this. So that is a huge cost that the government is having in subsidizing the demand for gasoline that's generated from fossil fuels. This happens in several countries. Egypt is another example. So if we can promote more of these subsidies, more of these mandates from governments to renewable fuels, this would have a large impact in the future. Europe has taken a leading role since 2009, implementing mandates to have 20% reduction in greenhouse gas emissions, 20% increase in fuel efficiency, and 20% of total fuel being from renewable sources. It's been going very well on this track. And recently, unfortunately, there have been great debate between member states and the European Council as to how to move beyond 2020. Beyond 2020, it is not clear yet what kind of mandates are going to be in place specifically for the transportation matrix. Transportation it's responsible for 30% of total greenhouse gas emissions. So if you want to tackle climate change, you have to tackle transportation. But transportation-specific targets are being left out of the debate in the latest drafts discussed by the European Council. And this is of great concern.
So we've covered government policy, but what about the trickle down into businesses? What could you tell our viewers today that might encourage businesses to enhance their energy input-output ratio?
Corporations around the world are realizing that energy efficiency is giving them benefits that goes direct to the bottom line. Bain released a study recently showing that Dow Chemical has saved $24 billion by entering its energy conscious program since 1990. BASF and the likes, GE, they have also had similar results. It is not only good for the environment, good for social responsibility, but it is also good for the bottom line.
Lastly then, how is CHS contributing to this process?
I'm very proud that CHS is so deeply involved in renewable fuels and its promotion. I think it's a critical issue for us going forward for next generations that we try to reduce the greenhouse gas emissions. And an area that is impacting greenhouse gas emissions like the transportation fuel is huge. We need to focus on that because alone, as I mentioned before, that's 30% of the total greenhouse gases are coming out of the automobiles. And if you look at the greenhouse gas footprint of renewable fuel, it's much more attractive than regular fossil fuels. Compared to fossil fuels, renewable fuels can have an 80% or 90% reduction in the greenhouse gas emissions if compared against each other. So if you think about that and you think about the air quality and the future of other generations, it's important for us to continue focused on greater amounts of renewable fuel usage.
George, thank you so much for coming in and sharing your thoughts with us today. Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
That's all we've got time for right now, but do stay tuned. We'll be back shortly with plenty more exclusive interviews. Goodbye for now.